Hey. Is it using the right mic? I hope it is. Yes. The Yeti. The Blue Yeti. Reporting for duty. Welcome. All right. Well then. Some things have happened, huh? Some things have happened. And we're here to talk about it. We're here to talk about the Oscar nominations. You had a Blue Yeti for literally 15 years. She was a workhorse. Yeah. Is that the snowball that you guys used to have? Because I know me and Jimmy used to use that for the old... I mean, you probably did too, but like we used to use it for some like streams back in the day doing poppycock stuff. Only died because of the input thing. The plug won't stay in all the way. Yeah. That's why I hope nothing happens to this plug, because the plug seems a bit loose and I'm worried about it. But it seems to be working, so excuse me. Mellow high life, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, the snowball, dude. Yeah, I went to Best Buy asking for a snowball mic, and they were like, "Oh yeah, they don't make those anymore. They have like these now." I hope I can just show it. Yeah, these mamma jammas. Those mamma jammas. That's what they got. So I was like, I'll take it. They have like a better one than this, but I was like, yeah, I'll just take this one. It's good. Oh yeah, eating popcorn. Hey man, you do what you got to do. Popcorn's fine. I like it, but it's just like once you're around it so much, For those of you who don't know, I do work part-time in a movie theater, so that's why I have mixed feelings on popcorn. I get unlimited popcorn, and it got old after about a week. So looks nice, yeah. Hello, Josh Kahn. Haven't seen you in chat before, so welcome. The most obvious nominations ever, but biggest internet blow up everywhere because of Gerwig and Margot. I know. We're going to get into it. I mean, we're probably not going to, like, talk extensively about the snubs just because, like, I kind of... I knew that they were possible. I knew the Margot and Gerwig snubs were possible. I am definitely not as surprised as most people. It sucks, but it is what it is. As far as obvious, yeah, most of them were obvious. I would say most of them were obvious. There were a few categories in there that kind of threw me for a loop. Like score was a big one. Seeing the Killer song in Best Original Song was kind of threw me for a loop. Killer's missing adapted screenplay definitely threw me for a loop. But overall, like, kind of typical stuff. But we will get into it. Let's just get into it. Biggest annoyance. Yeah, as far as annoyances, like, score was definitely my biggest annoyance, for sure. Like, absolutely my biggest annoyance. They could have nominated The Zone of Interest. They could have nominated Spider-Verse. They could have nominated The Boy and the Heron. Probably a few others that I'm not even thinking about right now. And yet they decided to give John Williams another nomination for, from what I hear, a very mediocre score for Indiana Jones. And the American Fiction score isn't bad. It's just, like, not... It doesn't really stand out. I don't know. We'll get into it. But let's go to the spreadsheet here. Going to the spreadsheet, the master spreadsheet of the things. We'll start with Best Picture, and we're not going to spend a lot of time with Best Picture because, man, I was 10 for 10, y'all. Most people were. Honestly, most people were doing the PGA 10, is what they call. And what that means is that these mamma jammas right here, they were all nominated for PGA. PGA is the Producers Guild. That is correlative to Best Picture. Very rarely, if not ever at all do PGA and Oscar Best Picture go 1-1. This is the first time in, I think, history it's ever happened. But what was gonna upset? Color Purple? No. That got one nomination. That was not a contender at all, you know. May December, I wish it was in the Best Picture 10. It's definitely in my top 10 of the year. Love that movie. But that movie just lost steam. It just lost steam. The Academy wasn't into it, I don't think. It didn't happen. Air wasn't going to happen. I mean, Air got some, you know, it got that Globe Comedy nomination. It got a screen, I think, no, it didn't get screenplay, I don't think. It could have gotten screenplay. I know it got editing at Critics' Choice, and I think Matt Damon got nominated for musical or comedy actor. That's pretty much where it stopped, though. That Air didn't really take off. The Iron Claw, unfortunately, didn't take off. I've heard wonderful things about that movie, but it just didn't. It came out too late. Voting had already happened, or voting was starting, I think, by the time it was coming out, but it just didn't happen. All the Strangers didn't really take off. That was mostly like a British film type of thing. Saltburn, you know, not everybody was into it. You know, there's a big camp of people that really love that movie, but I think Academy voters just did not care for it. I didn't care for it. I would have loved to see it get a cinematography nomination, but didn't happen. And Ferrari just died. Ferrari died. I've heard good things about Ferrari, but it just didn't. You know, none of these had any chance sneaking into the top 10. It just had no chance. So yeah, the PGA 10. Probably the most unsurprising and predictable category of the morning. So that is that. PGA 10, no Saltburn here. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Saltburn. I don't know, man. That movie's weird. It didn't really work for me. Loved the way it was shot. Some performances were great, but it just didn't work. Didn't work for Academy voters either. So yeah, and all this we didn't really have to go through. You know, SAG still needs to happen, PGA still needs to happen, but Oppenheimer is still the front runner right now. Holdovers is the runner-up. Yeah, I think the Holdovers could. I mean, I have Holdovers at number 3. I could have it at number 2, but I mean, it only. Poor Things I just have at number 2, just because it has it has more nominations. You know, Poor Things is more of a technical film than the Holdovers, but the Holdovers did get editing, and that kind of bumps it up a little bit. But I think, yeah, certainly the top 3 is Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and the Holdovers. And I wouldn't say Barbie anymore. Anatomy of Fall probably should be a little higher, honestly. But we're not here to update the predictions. We're just here to go review the nominations. So Everything in Gold are Oscar nominees. Number 2 will be Anatomy of Fall. Only movie I could see picking up momentum. Yeah, we'll see, man. I mean, American Fiction did win Screenplay a Golden Globe, so maybe that can have somewhat of a late surge. Director snub for Hold means shit. The director's managed likes they love international picks. The fact that they snubbed Alexander Payne, in fact, we're just going to move on to Best Director. I didn't really realize this when on Oscar nominations this morning, because I was just so I was kind of distracted by Trier getting in and Gerwig missing, but Alexander Payne missed the nomination, which is crazy, man, because he's been nominated 3 times. He's been nominated everywhere except for Golden Globe. Everywhere except for Golden Globe, Critics' Choice, DGA, BAFTA, and yet he misses, and they give it to 2 international directors, Trier and Glazer. And I kind of knew Glazer was going to happen, but Trier I was very surprised at, and tickled. But honestly, I mean, her direction is very good. But the sacrifice there was obviously Greta Gerwig, and she just, I don't know, she missed. I don't know what else to say. She just missed. It was such a tight category. You know, Nolan was getting in. Scorsese was most likely getting in. Lanthimos I had missing just barely, but he got in. It was just such a tight category this year, and she just missed. You know, she got in everywhere else except for BAFTA. She didn't get into BAFTA. It is just the way it is. Yeah, can't all be winners. Yeah. And crazily enough, Nolan is the only director who has gotten in literally everywhere, and he will probably win every directing award this season. Deservedly so. And really, the next one behind him, well, really the next three were Scorsese, Lanthimos, Gerwig, and Payne. Oh, and Bradley Cooper. All of these people have at least 3 nominations at the major precursors. Nolan is the only one that has 4. And then Glazer and Trier were late surges after BAFTA. Celine Song didn't really take off. I wish she should have taken off because, I mean, she's pretty much winning every first-time director prize anyway this year. Just kind of like Charlotte Wells. Is she the one who directed After Sun? I think, yeah, Charlotte Wells, the previous year. Same kind of thing. And then Andrew Hay, All of Us Strangers, that was kind of a BAFTA thing as well. All these guys were outside shots. So yeah, Payne missed, surprisingly. Gerwig missed. Cooper, I guess, wasn't really going to happen. It's unfortunate, but he did miss that DGA nomination, and that kind of hurt him. Again, tight competition this year. But yeah, I'm mostly happy with these 5 directors getting in. Honestly, I mean, Alexander Payne, as great as a director he is, you know, leave him out this season. Leave him out this season because some of these other directorial achievements are on a much higher level, in my opinion. As much as I love The Holdovers, yeah, this 5 makes sense. I mean, I wish Greta Gerwig got in, but it's fine. We'll all survive. We'll all live. The internet discourse will be over soon. People will get over it. She'll get her chance again. And that's that. That is that. Damn, we're in a tight spot. That's right. Moving on to Best Actress. In Director, I was 3 for 5. You know, it is what it is. In Actress, I was 4 for 5. I predicted Margot Robbie to get in, of course, because she had a great track record. She was nominated literally at every precursor. Golden Globe Comedy, Critics' Choice, SAG, BAFTA. She did not miss a beat. And then she missed. And you know who they nominated instead? Annette Bening in Nyad. Who here's seen Nyad? I haven't. I haven't seen it. It's on Netflix. I've heard okay things. I hear it's fine, but it's just one of those, not really Oscar bait. It's just like, it's not, like I've seen clips of it and the screenwriting is very on the nose and it's much, I don't know. It didn't really do anything for me from what I've seen, and I hear she's fine. You know, her and Jodie Foster. She's a previous nominee. She's been nominated a ton of times and she's never won. So this might be just the Academy throwing her a bone or something. I don't know, man. It's kind of upsetting. It's kind of upsetting, to be honest. And she's a great actress. Don't get me wrong, but like, I would have nominated Margot Robbie. You know. I mean, I was doubting Margot Robbie early in the season, and then she started getting nominated everywhere. I was like, oh, okay, I guess this thing is happening. Go for it. You know, do a makeup nomination for Margot Robbie after she missed for Babylon last year. I mean, her performance in Babylon is amazing, and she did not get in at the Oscars, but that's another story for Babylon. But these other 4 nominations do make sense. Emma Stone and Lily Gladstone, of course, both got in. Mulligan got in. She's been getting in everywhere. And Sandra Hüller got in after missing SAG, although that wasn't really... I didn't really see her even getting into SAG there, depending on their tastes, or judging by their tastes, rather. But she gets in. Margot Robbie misses. Fantasia Barrino misses. She did get that surprise BAFTA nomination after the Color Purple underperformed at BAFTAs, so I was like, maybe there's a world she'll sneak into the Oscar 5, but that didn't happen. The Color Purple just pretty much died. And then we'll get to supporting actress, but at least Danielle Brooks still got in. Greta Lee, it hurts me to see her not make it here. Her performance was very subdued in Past Lives, but she has a wide body of fans, myself included, of her and her performance in Past Lives. She did get Golden Globe Drama and Critics' Choice, but that pretty much ended there, unfortunately. And she missed BAFTA with Teo Yu even getting in, which was very strange. So she missed. Natalie Portman, May December. That didn't really take off at all. She only got that Globe knob, and that's where that ended. Natalie Portman in May December, one of my favorite performances of the year. She was amazing. As was Julianne Moore and Charles Melton, who all should have been nominated for May December, but rip. And then Kaylee Spaney, Audrey Ellis Taylor, these women just really didn't have a shot getting nominated. But yeah, I was 4 out of 5 there. Benning getting in over Robbie kind of hurt, but it is what it is. As far as winning, I think I still got Emma Stone at the top. And I say that just because Lily Gladstone missed BAFTA. But this could be a year where maybe she'll still pull off a win without getting nominated at BAFTA, which happens extremely rarely in the past a couple of decades at least. I did pull this up at my last live stream, which was I did some research, did some additional research, and I'll pull it up just because, just to prove not really prove my point, but just to drive a point home, if you will, if you shall. Research, here we go. Best Actress winner, BAFTA nom. Here we go. So just to go through this really quickly. This is for every year going back to the year 2000. All of the women you see with the green check mark and the blue check mark means that they both won and were nominated at the BAFTA and then went on to win the Oscar. Exceptions include Michelle Yeoh last year, was a BAFTA nominee, but did not win the BAFTA. Cate Blanchett won the BAFTA, but then she went on to win the Oscar anyway. Same with Jennifer Lawrence in 2012. Same with Charlize Theron in 2003. Now, Jessica Chastain was not nominated at BAFTA, but still won the Oscar. Jessica Chastain, Sandra Bullock, back in 2009, Hilary Swank, and Halle Berry. Only those 4 women have not been nominated for the BAFTA and went on to win the Oscar. Lily Gladstone is in that same camp. So she has stats working against her, for sure, to win the Oscar. So that is why I have Emma Stone winning right now, just because she won Golden Globe Comedy and she won Critics' Choice. We'll have to see what happens at SAG and BAFTA. Well, at BAFTA, I'm pretty sure Emma Stone is going to win BAFTA, unless it can go to maybe Carey Mulligan. I don't know. I doubt it. Maybe Sandra Hüller. Or could they give it to like someone random like Vivian Oparah? I don't know. BAFTAs can be really weird with their picks. So we'll just have to see what happens at SAG and BAFTA. If Lily Gladstone wins SAG, I'd be like, okay, she has a shot, and she might have a shot to win the Oscar. If she loses SAG, it's pretty much a done deal for Emma Stone to win. Because she's just not at BAFTA. So, I don't know. Carey Mulligan, she's been nominated everywhere. Don't think she's going to win. Sandra Hüller, as much as I'd love to see it, I don't think it's going to win. Annette Bening, there's no way in hell she's winning. If she does, I don't know. I'll probably pour this Miller High Life over my motherboard. I need a new computer anyway, so why not? So, canceled Netflix because fuck them. Yeah. I mean, I canceled Netflix. Well, because I was on your account. But I was like, yeah, to hell with Netflix. I was kind of in the same camp, but I had to sign up for it again just because they were... I mean, Maestro is on Netflix. May December's on Netflix. Society of the Snow is on Netflix. All these movies that I need to see were on Netflix. So I was like, what am I going to do? So I was like, all right, guess I'm signing up for Netflix again because I got work to do. So, hold me to it. So, yeah, the principle of it. Yeah, they suck. Netflix sucks. Most streaming services suck, let's be honest. Let's go back to physical media, huh? I'm in to go back to physical media. So anyway. Raised their prices over and over, wasn't using... I do miss the Gretzko, yeah. I've seen a Gretzko so many times, though, but so... I mean, once... I don't know, there'll be a time where I will circle back on a Gretzko. It's not going to be, in the near future. Maybe it will, I don't know. I have just seen a Gretzko so many times. I'm like, okay, I think I'm good for a while, but I do miss it. And God forbid if they make a new season. That'd be amazing. Dude, yeah, I know. Put Netflix. Put a Gretzko out on physical. Like, I am in. Even if you make like a $120 like limited edition, I'm in. I got it. Send it my way, dude. It's me. It's mine. Gretzko is the ultimate comfort show. I agree. I miss the days. I miss those days putting on a Gretzko, falling asleep. But anyway, let's move on to Best Actor. 5 for 5, baby! 5 for 5. I predicted the DiCaprio snub. My boy was just losing steam, man. He missed at SAG and he missed at BAFTA, and this category, I mean, Coleman Domingo and Jeffrey Wright were performing so well all season long. They've been nominated everywhere except for Jeffrey Wright. He missed BAFTA. It's just, Jeffrey Wright leapfrogged him, and DiCaprio hasn't really been campaigning. He's really been campaigning for, Leo has been campaigning for Lily Gladstone, strangely enough. He's been kind of pushing her campaign along to get nominated, which worked. So, and then again, like, a lot of the Killers of the Flower Moon campaigning was during the SAG strike. So he really didn't get to, do what these other guys did, go on these actor roundtables for Variety and Actors on Actresses thing. That all has to do with their campaigning, their Oscar campaigning, their publicity. This all helps with getting Oscar nominations. It's all very political. There's no way to I mean, we got to cut to the chase. A lot of it is politics. And yeah, sure, some of that's kind of bullshit, but it is what it is. I recognize it. It's how these things happen. Whatever. So really, he just didn't make it in just because of the lack of his campaign, I guess. And maybe it's just like a lot of the intention has been on Lily Gladstone, has been on Robert De Niro. It is what it is. He missed. And it's crazy because it's one of his best performances in his career. He's been nominated multiple times. He's won an Oscar. He's just not here, you know? It is what it is. But all these other guys, Paul Giamatti, Cillian Murphy, Bradley Cooper, Coleman Domingo, Jeffrey Wright, makes perfect sense, these 5. Barry Keoghan and Saltburn, didn't really see that happening due to the lack of love for Saltburn and to the not really divisive nature of that movie. Kind of divisive. It's just like, you know, it's not really for everybody's cup of tea. Definitely not the Oscar voters' cup of tea. So that was kind of a long shot. Andrew Scott would have been great to see. Teo Yu would have been great to see. And then Zac Efron, a lot of people have been trying to kind of grassroots campaign him to an Oscar nomination. That just didn't take off, unfortunately. But yeah, that 5 makes sense. Next time you're down here, we'll watch Big Fat Liar. Yeah, I would love to. Get on the Paul Giamatti train for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I need to see it. I know. It's crazy that I haven't seen that. I don't know. I just never grew up watching that one. Yeah, Paul Giamatti, man. It's great that he's finally getting his the recognition he deserves. He's been kind of like an underrated sleeper hit type of character actor. So it's great to see him take home both the Golden Globe and the Critics' Choice Award. So, you know, it's really between Cillian Murphy and Paul Giamatti for the win. I could see it going either way. I will say that Paul Giamatti might have the slight edge. Not only is he a previous nominee, he's been around a long time. He's very likable. So is Cillian Murphy, in a different way. You know, making up for his Oscar snub for Sideways would mean a lot with a win. I feel like SAG could go for his performance more than Cillian Murphy's performance. If I see Paul Giamatti taking SAG and Cillian Murphy taking BAFTA, then it's really a neck-and-neck race. And it's all down to basically the Oscar. Yeah, that one's tough. It's going to be a neck-and-neck race. Or Paul could just be the sweeper from now on. Who knows? Both of those performances are equally deserving of an Oscar, for sure. And then we have Bradley Cooper, who has been kind of getting some backlash from film Twitter, saying that he's trying too hard and he's overacting, and it's like all this other stuff. Look, man, I am a stand for Maestro. I stand by Maestro as being a great film. It's in my top 10. I think Bradley Cooper does an excellent job, not only directing the film, but he does an excellent job as Leonard Bernstein. I think he did him justice. Some people seem to disagree. I think he did a great job. It's not so much people think it's an imitation. It really isn't. It really is an interpretation of him. You can't really imitate Leonard Bernstein. He has a very particular and specific way of speaking, and his mannerisms and the tone of his voice. You know, Bradley Cooper kind of did his best to kind of interpret that in his own way, which I think he did pretty fine. So I am a defendant of Bradley Cooper. I think he's a wonderful actor. I think he did a great job. I thought he was going to win earlier in the season, but I don't think that's going to happen. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. He got in everywhere, whatever, and he seems to be proud of his work. So let him be. I just don't get all of the personal attacks against him. He's doing his job. He's doing it well. Anyway, I digress. Coleman Domingo has gotten in everywhere. For a movie that I hear is fine, he kind of carries the movie. His performance carries the movie. He's doing everything that you need to do to get an Oscar nomination. So he is obviously very strong in the movie since he's gotten in everywhere. I have yet to see Rustin, so I will be the judge of that. I hear he's great. And Jeffrey Wright in American Fiction is an interesting nomination. I do really like his performance. It's more internal, a lot of face acting. Very understated and nuanced comparatively to these other performances. Just with the look that he gives in American Fiction, the certain looks that he gives that are very simple, you can feel what he's feeling, you know. And it's funny. It's a very not a very over the top comedic performance, but very subdued, and he does a great job. So I'm glad he got in. So anyway, with that being said, I do still think it's between Killian and Paul. We'll see what happens at some of these precursors, and we should move on. Haven't seen it, but it sounds like Daniel Radcliffe's interpretation of Weird Al was great. Oh yeah, I've heard. I haven't seen that one. I haven't seen Weird, the Al Yankovic story. I haven't seen it, and I hear he does a great job. Not an imitation, but an interpretation. It's a fine line. So, let's move on to supporting actors. This category was kind of a bloodbath, but I still got 4 out of 5, just because I predicted Penelope Cruz to get in. And I know the Academy's love for Penelope Cruz was very strong, so that's the only reason why I threw her in there. I could see America Ferrera as a possibility, and I saw Rosamund Pike as a possibility, and Julianne Moore as an outside shot. But America Ferrera ended up getting in. She's been performing very strong. I guess people feel like she has a big monologue in Barbie regarding feminism and the nature of womanhood that left an impression on a lot of people. And she does a great job in the film. And it just kind of took off, and Oscar voters connected with it, and she got the Oscar nomination, along with a Critics' Choice nomination. So kind of the same path as Brian Tyree Henry from last year, although Brian Tyree Henry was in a 1 nomination only movie, and Barbie got, I think, 8 or 9 nominations. So that's the only difference there. But yeah, she got in over Penelope Cruz, and look, Penelope Cruz only got in at SAG, and SAG is a weighty nomination. If you get in at SAG, that means a lot. Doesn't mean you're going to win or anything like that. It's very rare that happens. But I don't know. I kind of took an outside shot and saw her getting nominated, but it didn't happen. But anyway, I got the other 4 women in here. We got Devon Joy Randolph, who I think is going to be winning. She's been just crushing it, not only with the critics circles, but with these precursors so far. 1 Golden Globe and Critics' Choice. Most likely going to win SAG. She will probably win BAFTA as well, although I do see BAFTA picking someone else, just because of their bad track record with awarding non-white actors. We'll see. Last year they didn't award a single award to a non-white person, which was interesting. It's definitely a choice to not give Ke Huy Quan the BAFTA and give it to Barry Keoghan instead. To go out of your way to do that after Ke Huy Quan swept the entire season. I don't really understand it, but that's neither here nor there. Whatever. Devon Joy Randolph is probably going to walk away with this one. But Danielle Brooks has been getting in everywhere. Despite The Color Purple kind of struggling throughout award season, Danielle Brooks gives a very strong performance from what I hear. She's been performing pretty much just about flawlessly. As flawlessly as she can in the shadow of Devon Joy Randolph. Emily Blunt really took off. Early in the season, I kind of doubted Emily Blunt's chances, but the love for Oppenheimer is very strong, and she has some great scenes in the movie, especially near the end. It makes sense that she's here for sure, and she's gotten in everywhere. Jodie Foster has been doing very well. She's a well-beloved name in Hollywood. She has 2 Oscars under her belt and has been nominated several other times. Hasn't been nominated in a while, so this is her first nomination in quite some time, probably in at least a decade and a half. But yeah, Nyad I hear is okay, but I think Jodie Foster gives in a good enough performance for the Academy to recognize her. So she did miss BAFTA in place of Rosamund Pike, who was also a former nominee, but she is here. And like I said, America Ferrera it's cool to see her here with only one precursor nomination. Sandra Hüller, I could have seen an outside shot since The Zone of Interest was kind of loved by the Academy more, more than I thought they would love it. So Sandra Hüller, I could have seen maybe doing that leapfrog over somebody else, maybe over America Ferrera or Jodie Foster or something like that. But it didn't happen. She did get that Best Actress nom for Anatomy of a Fall, though. But that is Supporting Actress. Yeah, man. We should move on after this one. Jimmy got it on Blu-ray and it was fucking awesome. Nice. Yeah, one of these days I'll probably watch it. I hear it's a hoot and holler. Supporting Actor. Here we go. I was also 5 out of 5 in Supporting Actor. I went out on a limb and I said, you know what? They love to double nominate supporting performances. So a lot of people were seeing Mark Ruffalo and Willem Dafoe get in for Poor Things. Or none at all. You know, some people weren't even predicting either of them because they both missed BAFTA. But I went out on a limb and I'll be like, look, the Academy, maybe this will be the year they'll just nominate one of them. It could be either Ruffalo or it could be Dafoe. And I chose Ruffalo just because I personally think his performance is a little stronger in the film. He leaves, well, I don't know. He kind of leaves an equal impression comparatively to Dafoe's character. But, you know, I felt that Ruffalo would be the performance that the Academy would go for over SAG, who decided to single nominate Dafoe instead of Ruffalo, which was very surprising. But he got in, and Willem Dafoe just barely missed. And the Sterling K. Brown surge happened. He got nominated at SAG, and that is... Oh, he did get a Critics' Choice nomination as well. But once he got SAG, it was like, all right, look out. And we looked out, and he got that Oscar nomination. So, and he's really great in American Fiction. Definitely a more... kind of in the same vein as Jeffrey Wright in the same film. Very subdued, internal and nuanced performance. And I like to see those kind of performances get in. So he gets in. And then, of course, the top three. Robert Downey Jr., Ryan Gosling, Robert De Niro. They have not missed a beat all season long. Look at this track record, man. These boys have not missed. For some reason, I was feeling Robert De Niro hanging on by a thread. Just for a little bit. Then he got SAG nomination, and then he got BAFTA, even over Leo and Lily Gladstone. I was like, okay, well, he's definitely getting in at the Oscars. So it's good to see him here. He gives one of his best performances in years. And of course Ryan Gosling, Barbie, widely loved performance. He's been getting in everywhere. But I think, as far as let's talk about snubs first. Your introduction to Willem Dafoe is Beyond Two Souls. Oh wow, that's interesting. He was in Spider-Man. I don't know if you saw Spider-Man or Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 1. Spider-Man, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. Growing up, he's the Green Goblin. Willem Dafoe, wonderful actor, great actor. The vet. Let's pour. You're like, oh yeah. He was the Goblin Man. Yeah. Right. He was the Green Goblin. I got Spider-Man, that's right. So let's pour a couple drinks out, alright? Let's pour one out to both Charles Melton. Take a swig of that. And then let's pour one out to Dominic Sessa. Take a swig of that. Those two boys, man, I really wish they would have caught on this award season because they give two of the best performances of the year. Charles Melton, for my money, is my favorite supporting actor performance of the year. amazing, subdued performance in May, December. And I don't want to talk too much about his character itself. You'll just have to see for yourself. But he is wonderful in that movie. And I really wish he could have caught on. It was an early season thing. And then the Poor Things boys and Sterling K. Brown kind of threw some wrenches in his race, and it just didn't happen. And then Dominic Sessa wasn't really performing really at all very well in the early awards race. He did win Best Young Performance at Critics' Choice, which was very well deserved. But as far as like getting into the major precursors, really the only place he shined was BAFTA. And BAFTA, they like to nominate younger performers. That's one thing that I do like that the BAFTA that branch does, or that body does rather. So I was kind of hoping for an outside shot that he could sneak in, but it just didn't happen. He is equally as good in the holdovers. He stands toe to toe with Paul Giamatti and Divine Joy Randolph, and it's his first movie role ever. He's literally like fresh out of high school, auditioned at the school that they were filming at, got the part, just killed it. It's just, what a great performance. What a great first performance that was. So, pour one out for those two gentlemen. We'll see you in the future. Hopefully they'll get some more recognition in the years to come. Paul Mescal, All of Us Strangers, that was a one-off at BAFTA. Jacob Elordi and Saltburn, I don't understand the BAFTA nomination, whatever. I think he was fine in Saltburn. You didn't need to nominate him. You should have nominated Charles Melton. So that didn't take off. John Magaro, also pour one out for him. I really wish he would have gotten any kind of recognition for Past Lives. He stood toe-to-toe with Greta Lee and Teo Yoon in Past Lives. He was great in that movie. So, pour one out for him. Also, shout out to Matt Damon in Oppenheimer, who not a lot of people talk about his performance in that movie. He's great. I think he was great. He did a great job in Oppenheimer. So yeah, I was 5 for 5 in supporting actor. As far as who's winning, it's just because he's hot. I know, that's what's annoying about it. It's like, we get it. Like, yes, he's like anatomically like a perfect male. Like, he's like a perfect looking male human, in my opinion. Yes, he's attractive. Doesn't mean he's like, sure, he's a pretty good actor, but like, don't, you know what I mean? I don't want to say anything else about it, so we get it. So that's it. That's it, man. Elordi, just have your fun time. He does got a jawline, bro. His jawline's intense. Anyway, Matt Damon's your favorite actor. Yeah, Matt Damon's great, man. He's great. Matt Damon has won an Oscar, but for screenwriting. He won original screenplay with Ben Affleck for Good Will Hunting, but has never won an acting Oscar. I think he's been nominated for maybe 2 acting Oscars, maybe 3. I know he was nominated for that one soccer movie, and then I think he was nominated for The Martian, and I think those are the only two nominations. Chin Man, that's right, dude. Just a throwback to Persona 5 Royal. Oh yeah, Clooney's like at the top. Anyway, let us move on to the screenplay categories. What the hell happened with Killers of the Flower Moon, y'all? What happened? How did it miss adapted screenplay? But they chose The Zone of Interest in place of it, which, look, that's based. That is a based pick. If there was any other film that they would nominate instead of Killers, I would have hoped to would have been The Zone of Interest, or maybe All of Us Strangers. Or Are You There, God It's Me, Margaret? But I don't think that was ever happening. That only got a Critics' Choice nomination, I believe, yeah. But The Zone of Interest got that BAFTA nomination, and that was the leapfrog that hopped over Killers of the Flower Moon, because Killers of the Flower Moon was not nominated at BAFTA. And I think the screenplay categories are a major factor when it comes to the Oscars, from what I understand. So that's what happened, and it was kind of shocking to see Killers miss. I was, it's weird because some people who have read the book say that it is very different from the book as far as like the perspective from where the story is told. They kind of moved some things around in that regard, so some people who have read the book aren't actually into the movie as much, but the movie is so strong that it's kind of its own thing, But then again, a lot of it also has to do with Barbie getting into adapted screenplay, which it was campaigned in original screenplay all season long. And look, if we sneak into the original screenplay, you will see that Barbie has been getting everywhere for original screenplay, even winning Critics' Choice. But the Oscars, the Academy was like, nope, it's adapted. It's based on characters created by the woman who invented Barbie. Okay, sure. Whatever you say, Academy. It's not. They're saying it's not based on the brand of Barbie. It's based on characters based on the brand. It's a whole thing. I don't understand it. It would have been easier for me to have a Barbie in an original screenplay, have it win that, and then having the adapted screenplay category open up to other possibilities. If Barbie wasn't here, I think Killers would have gotten in. But such is life. That's fine. Whatever. That is a reach. I do agree. That is a reach. Once they said, oh, it's an adapted, I'm like, what? Adapted from what? Literally whatever. It's here, and guess what? I have it winning. I think I see a world where Oppenheimer will win Best Picture and Barbie will win Best Adapted Screenplay over Oppenheimer, to kind of recognize the Barbenheimer sensation of this past year. Because look, screenplay winners tend to win Best Picture as well. Like 80%, 70 to 80% of the time, if you win adapted or original screenplay, you are pretty secure to win Best Picture. The correlation is very strong. Let's bring it up. Let's go to the videotape. And by videotape, I mean research, because I did it. Where is it? Best Picture versus Best Screenplay. Here we go. The stats don't lie, folks. Everything Everywhere All at Once won Screenplay, won Best Picture. Coda won Adapted Screenplay, won Best Picture. This is an outside thing. Didn't win. 2020 was a weird year, so I'm not counting that. Parasite, Screenplay, Best Picture. Green Book, Screenplay, Best Picture. One off. And then all these other years we have a winner match between Screenplay and Best Picture. We got one in 2011. Going all the way back to the year 2000. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17 divided by 22. Do it. There. 77%. 77% chance you're going to win, based on the last 22 years, 77% chance you're going to win Best Picture if you win either original or adapted screenplay. So, with that being said, the stats are working in against Oppenheimer's favor, because if I have Barbie winning, that's going to be a stat break. Stats can be broken. But I'm thinking it's going to be a very tight competition, but I'm thinking that they could give it to Barbie, and then they'll still give Best Picture to Oppenheimer. Or they could give Best Picture to Barbie and throw a wrench in everything. I don't know, man. I don't know. Whiplash, you don't see it. Hey, man, Whiplash was nominated for Adapted Screenplay? Whiplash was nominated for Adapted Screenplay. It lost, but it was nominated. And it was nominated for Best Picture back in 2014. But you can't re-release a movie and have it get nominated for Oscars. So, there you go. Just bring it back. Just bring it back. You know what? Let's just da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Okay. Anyway, re-release School of Rock, best movie in the universe. That's right. Anyway, so yeah, that is my prediction for the win. But anyway, Killers of the Flower Moon missing over Zone of Interest. Pretty crazy, pretty shocking. But yeah, American Fiction, we have to keep an eye out. We have to keep an eye out on American Fiction because it did win Critics' Choice by surprise over Barbie. Well, actually, no. Barbie won original at Critics' Choice, but it won over Killers of the Flower Moon, and it won over Oppenheimer and Poor Things. That's very strong. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on American Fiction. That could be a possibility too, but I don't know. Definitely solidly in the top 3 though. All of Us Strangers got in at Critics' Choice and BAFTA, missed. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Don't sing too accurate; you'll get demonetized. That's true. How about let's change the key. Da 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 na 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 na. Just change the key. Why not? Whatever, YouTube. Whatever. All right. Original screenplay. 5 for 5, man. I did pretty well. Oscar nominations morning. We'll get into the techs. I didn't do so hot with the tech categories. You know, I did pretty well, but I don't know. I did pretty good. Original screenplay. I actually originally predicted Saltburn to get in over May December, just because May December has just been losing steam this late award season. But I was kind of going through my predictions, I think the night before the nominations were announced, and I was looking at it. I'm like, why do I have Saltburn burn in over May December? Like, what has Saltburn done? Like, Saltburn has not been getting in anywhere. It didn't get in anywhere, and then May December got into Critics' Choice, and it's been kind of the talk of the town. I mean, Saltburn's also kind of been the talk of the town. And Emerald Fennell is a previous winner of Original Screenplay for Promising Young Woman. Maybe that's why I was thinking it was going to get in, but no. I was like, nah, May December's got this. And it got in. I could have maybe seeing Air possibly getting in and maybe sneaking into Best Picture. That was a possibility. Very low possibility. But May December got in, and I was very happy for it because that is a wonderful screenplay. But all these other nominees make perfect sense. The Holdovers, Anatomy of a Fall, Past Lives, Maestro, these all make perfect sense. Past Lives has been getting in everywhere. Holdovers got in everywhere except for Golden Globe. That's insane that it didn't get in Golden Globe. I think Holdovers underperformed at Golden Globe, and then it kind of took off once Critics' Choice happened. And then Anatomy of a Fall missed Critics' Choice, but also won Golden Globe. So there could... I don't know, man. We'll see what happens at BAFTA. And look, we can't even use WGA because it's after the Oscars this year. Really love it. It's because of the strikes. Love it. Great. So we can't really use that. Otherwise, WGA is a very good indicator to seeing if, how well screenplays will do at the Oscars. But since we can't use that, all we have left are the BAFTAs. And even then, it's kind of hard to tell who's really going to take home original screenplay at the Oscars. It could be any of these. I would say that these three, Past Lives, The Holdovers, and Anatomy of a Fall, I think are the three most likely candidates to win. I have The Holdovers winning for now, just because it's gotten in everywhere. It didn't get into director, but it got into picture. It got into 2 acting categories. It got into editing, which is very good, correlative to Best Picture nominees. I just have that winning, and it's a very strong screenplay as well. And Alexander Payne films tend to not only get nominated for screenplay, but win screenplay. So I do see that happening. Maybe Past Lives could pull through and get a women talking package, where it will, it's only nominated for picture and screenplay, but maybe it'll be like Women Talking, where it wins screenplay, with only getting one other nomination. Sure, that could happen. I would love to see that. And then Maestro, I don't really see happening. Honestly, in my personal opinion, the weakest aspect of Maestro was the screenplay. So I was kind of surprised to see it here, but also kind of tickled, because give Maestro some love, people. And then, of course, May December, I don't really think has a shot to win. If that wins, I will be jumping up and down towards the ceiling, because that is not only is original screenplay its only nomination. Very unlikely for it to win with only one nomination. It's definitely the underdog this night. Oscars night. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Makes sense, this category. Let's move on. Animated feature. So a little curveball here, man. I knew Spider-Verse was getting in. I knew Boy and the Heron was getting in. It's going to be between these two films for the win. Nimona getting in, I could see coming. Elemental, I was like, all right, the movie is not super strong, but what else are they going to nominate? Maybe Chicken Run, because they like that studio. I don't know. But they did nominate Elemental. And, look, me and a lot of people were predicting TMNT to get in. It got a Critics' Choice nomination. It got an Annie nomination. It even got PGA, which is pretty big. But my boys picked Robot Dreams, which I hear is great, by the way. A 2D animated film from, I think, a European studio. It got 1 nomination at the Annies for Best Indie Feature. Didn't even get into BAFTAs. It hasn't gotten in anywhere else. The Academy went into the back of the cabinet and said, "Oh, this one's cool. Let's throw this one in there. Sorry, Turtles. Sorry, Splinter." So that's what happened. TMNT got shut out for Robot Dreams. Fucking Elemental, yeah. They had to throw Disney Pixar a bone. I mean, Disney had a pretty bad year. They were just like, you know what? We always nominate Pixar movies. Let's just throw in Elemental. I've heard mixed things about Elemental. I hear it's okay. I hear it's fine. Some people really like it, but most people think it's just kind of it's nothing special. It does look fine. It does look pretty. But it just kind of, I don't know. Maybe it's because of that. It's been doing gangbusters on streaming. It's I don't know. It's weird. The track record of Elemental has just been super weird. Was it a bomb? Not really, because it kind of made it didn't have a very good opening at the box office, but through word of mouth, it made so much money, and it went gangbusters on streaming. But I don't know. I don't really know what to make of it. But it's here. It's here. And I saw Nimona. I thought it was pretty good. It it was a kids movie. It was a kids movie, and you know, it tackles some interesting themes like identity and things of that nature. And it looks fine. It's very, it's unique in its approach to animation, but nowhere nearly on the level as Spider-Verse and Boy and the Heron, in my opinion. Speaking of those two films, it is between Spider-Verse and Boy and the Heron still. A lot of people say that Spider-Verse has this in the bag. I beg to differ. I might even have Boy and the Heron winning. I'm not sure. I still need to kind of think about it. I just think that Miyazaki is having a year. It's kind of tailing behind Spider-Verse in a way that's very impressive, given the strength of Spider-Verse. Boy and the Heron did win at Golden Globes. That doesn't mean a whole lot in the grand scheme of things, but Spider-Verse did pull off Critics' Choice, but Critics' Choice, that body tends to they loved Into the Spider-Verse. We'll see what happens at the Annies and the PGAs and the BAFTA. That will give us a lot of clarity leading up to Oscar night. But here's my thing, and I've said this before on my past videos. Across the Spider-Verse is a part 2 of 3. We still have Beyond the Spider-Verse to come out. Across the Spider-Verse ends very abruptly with the to be continued at the end and everything. Maybe, I don't know how far ahead Oscar voters will think about this, or whether this matters or not, but maybe in the grand scheme of things, they will hold off on giving the Oscar to Across the Spider-Verse, throw Miyazaki a bone for his last film for The Boy and the Heron. His narrative is very strong. And then wait until Beyond the Spider-Verse comes out, which will probably be even more impressive than Across the Spider-Verse, as crazy as that is to comprehend. Then they'll give the Oscar, finally, to Beyond the Spider-Verse, when that comes out. Just the hypothetical, that's just what I'm thinking, but that's not impossible. You know, The Boy and the Heron and Miyazaki's narrative is great. Miyazaki holds the record for the only 2D animated film to win Best Animated Feature, Spirited Away. The only anime film to win that same award, Spirited Away. This could be a twofer for him. So, you got some competition there, Spider-Verse, and maybe, at the end of the day, maybe they will give it Across the Spider-Verse, and I can shut the hell up. But hey, I will be happy with this award going to either of those two films. I do personally like Across the Spider-Verse more than The Boy and the Heron. Two very different films, different mediums, different approaches. They're vibes. They're very tonally very different films. But I would love to see it go to one of these two, and it's going to go one of these two. In no way in hell Nimona Elemental and Robot Dreams stand a chance against these two bad boys. So, that's all I'm going to say for now. We'll just have to see what the Annies and the PGA and the BAFTA do. That will provide us some clarity. Robot Dreams, what the hell was that? Gonna have to see it. Sorry TMNT, sorry Splinters, sorry Shredder, sorry April O'Neil. Moving on to the next category. Alright, international feature. What the hell was this? I was 2 out of 5 here. You know, international feature's tough to predict sometimes, and this year kind of goes to show that. This race has been it's been kind of all over the place all year. Outside of the Zone of Interest and Society of the Snow, which have been getting in anywhere. Io Capitano got in. I was not seeing that. Golden Globe. It only got a Golden Globe nomination. That was a one-off. Perfect Days from Japan. One-off. Only Critics' Choice. Fallen Leaves. One-off. Golden Globe. Taste of Things, 1 off. Critics' Choice. 20 Days of Mariupol, 1 off. BAFTA. Teachers Lounge wasn't nominated for any precursors. And then the Academy was like, let's throw it a bone. That one's good. So I'm like, like, what are we doing here? It's hard sometimes, guys. It's hard to do this sometimes. So, yeah, so these are the 5. Zone of Interest, Society of the Snow, of course they're going to get in. They've been making a killing all year. Perfect Days, I was very glad to see in. I was predicting it to just barely miss under the Taste of Things and under Fallen Leaves. I don't know. I had heard a lot of buzz about Fallen Leaves and a lot of buzz about the Taste of Things, and also a lot of buzz about Perfect Days. And then Teachers Lounge was kind of an underdog, and Io Capitano was more or less an underdog even after their lone Golden Globe nomination. So I really don't know how to make sense of this and how the Oscars decided these nominees. But that's that, man. I mean, it's just been all over the place this year, and then the Oscars just kind of did some weird shit. So it is what it is. I kind of want to see all of these. I have seen Zone of Interest. Fantastic. Side of the Snow was very good. Fallen Leaves I need to see. 20 Days of Mariupol I need to see because that was nominated in documentary feature, so I'll be seeing that. Taste of Things I kind of want to check out still, but definitely Perfect Days, Teachers Lounge, and Io Capitano. I'm going to have to watch those somehow. I had a chance to watch Perfect Days at the Philadelphia Film Festival. I think it was like on a Wednesday or something like that, and I was like, I don't feel like going, blah, blah, blah. And it's been so hard to find Perfect Days and see where it's playing. It's not playing anywhere. It's not available on any platforms for a while. It's just like very hard to track down. So I should have just bit the bullet and just went and seen it, but it is what it is, whatever. So anyway, I'm pretty sure Zone of Interest is going to win. I mean, the Zone of Interest is nominated in Best Picture. If you're nominated in International Feature and also nominated in Best Picture, guess what? Congratulations. You just won an International Feature. Historically, that's just been a unbreakable stat. Drive My Car, Another Round. What was the one last year? All Quiet on the Western Front. Parasite. I mean, every film that is nominated for Best Picture also here has won International Feature. There's almost no way that Zone of Interest is losing this award. Society of the Snow has... I mean, if that won, I would be very shocked. But if it was going to be any other one of these films to win, it would be Society of the Snow. If Zone of Interest wasn't here, that would most likely be winning. But again, this branch is kind of weird when it comes to selecting their nominees and selecting their winners. I remember when Pan's Labyrinth came out. Pan's Labyrinth was nominated for a bunch of Oscars. It was not nominated for Best Picture, but it was nominated for some text. It even won cinematography, and then it lost International Feature to another film. So they can do some weird shit. But anyway, that is that. I didn't do so great in that category. 2 out of 5. I'll live with it. It's fine. Whatever. Let's move on. Now we're getting into the text. Here we go. Cinematography. I was 4 out of 5. El Conde, did you have to go and get that ASC nomination, man? You threw a bone in my shit. You threw a bone in my prediction chops, man. My man El Conde pulled through with an ASC nomination. Lone ASC nomination. And ASC tend to go at least 3 out of 5, if not 4 out of 5, with Best Cinematography at the Oscars. So I was like, okay, maybe El Conde can get in, but it did get in. El Conde got in. And by the way, El Conde is in black and white. It's a black and white movie. And the Academy, the cinematography branch at the Academy, they love their black and white. They love black and white for some reason. Sure, man. Whatever you say, They got to nominate at least one black and white movie, like every year, every chance they get. Look, half of Maestro, maybe 40% of Maestro, is in black and white. Okay, the first I want to say 45 minutes to an hour of the film is in black and white. I would have figured that would have been their black and white spot. But no, they went for El Conde. We got that ASC nomination, and they chose El Conde over Saltburn, which has some of the... Look, not a huge fan of the movie, like I said. Great cinematography in Saltburn. One of the best shots movies of the year. My man Linus Sandgren does some good work, man. Previous Oscar winner for La La Land. Shot Babylon. Wonderfully shot movie. He shot First Man. He shot all the Damien Chazelle films. He shot this one. He's got the eye, man. He's got an eye, let me tell you. And he did get that Critics' Choice nomination. And he did get a BSC nomination, which is the British branch of cinematographers. Not as strong as ASC. He did miss the BAFTA nomination for cinematography. And otherwise, BAFTA gave the cinematography nod to The Zone of Interest, which I think would have been a very cool cinematography pick. Wonderful, static, beautiful cinematography in The Zone of Interest. Some very powerful shots in that film. Would have loved to see that nomination, but they love their black and white. Let's go. We like the black and white. Whatever. But these other 4 nominations, man, Oppenheimer, Killers of the Flower Moon, Poor Things, Maestro, all incredibly shot films, and all 4 of which have most deservedly gotten in at every major precursor. As far as who's going to win, I'm pretty sure my boy Hoyt van Hoytema is going to walk away with this one for his stellar IMAX camera work for Oppenheimer. Beautifully shot film, and this is going to be a makeup nomination and a makeup win for him after they snubbed him last year for Nope, which was my pick for Best Cinematography of the Year last year for Nope. Was not even nominated. Broke my heart. So this is going to make up for that, for sure. So he's most likely going to win. I really doubt anybody else is going to pull this one off, as strong as the cinematography is in all 3 of these other films. And I do still need to see El Conde. I'm talking shit about El Conde a little bit, but I'm going to have to circle back on and check it out. It is on Netflix, so maybe I'll see what's up with El Conde. This happened last year, by the way, with Bardo, a movie called Bardo, which was Iñárritu's film. That randomly got an ASC nomination last year out of nowhere, and guess what? It got nominated at the Oscars. It's the same thing that happened with El Conde. And Bardo, yes, very well shot movie. Weird movie, didn't really work for me. Beautifully shot. So, congratulations, El Conde. You have the Bardo touch, if you will. But anyway, I was 4 out of 5 there. I did predict Saltburn just because Linus is a former nominee, and I love the cinematography so much. It was kind of a coping prediction, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, those nominations make sense. Congratulations, Hoyt, on your Oscar. We'll see what happens at these other branches, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be a clean sweep, y'all. Probably going to be a clean sweep. I would love to maybe see ASC or BSC or maybe even BAFTA go to Poor Things or Zone of Interest. Dude, maybe BAFTA will give it the Zone of Interest and be like, ha, that would be awesome. But anyway, let us move on to the next category, which is costume design. I was also 4 out of 5 in this category. I predicted Maestro just because Mark Bridges is like Academy royalty. My man has been nominated for many Oscars, I believe. Let's look up his Wikipedia page. Awards. Okay, here we go. Academy Award. Here we go. So he got nominated for The Artist. He was nominated for Inherent Vice. He was nominated for Phantom Thread. And he was nominated for Joker. 4 nominations, y'all. That's a track record. So that's the only reason that and the costume work in Maestro was very solid. So I was like, maybe that could happen. But no, they chose Oppenheimer and Napoleon instead, which is fine. The costume work in Napoleon clearly seems very strong. Sorry if that was probably loud. So yeah, I guess other than that makes sense. Oppenheimer just getting in just because, costume work's pretty solid and it needed that 13th nomination. They just went gung-ho, gangbusters for Oppenheimer. So, of course that would get in. Jacqueline West is also, I think, Academy royalty. So Killers of the Flower Moon definitely gets in. Poor Things, absolutely. And then Barbie, obviously. Like, almost that entire movie is costume design in a nutshell. So I'd be surprised if Barbie did not win. I think that is the easy front runner. It's been getting in everywhere. It won Critics' Choice. It got into... So CDG is the Costume Designers Guild. And there are 3 subcategories for them. There's period, there's contemporary, and then there's sci-fi fantasy. Barbie got into sci-fi fantasy. Period is usually the most strongest category. Oscars really love their period costume work as well as their period-esque production design. So Poor Things, Killers, Oppenheimer, and Napoleon all fall into that category. But I don't really see the Oscars giving it to anybody but Barbie. I think that's going to be like a cakewalk for them. Maybe something surprising will happen at either the Guilds or BAFTA or whatever, or even at the Oscars. But we will have to see. But I was 4 out of 5 there. I'll live with that. Let's move on. Oh yeah, poor one out to Asteroid City. Also in production design too, which we'll get to. But that's that. Let's move on to film editing. Yeah, I was also 4 out of 5 here. I did not think the holdovers would have gotten in, but that is cool. That is cool. That definitely shows the Academy's love. If they give you editing to a film where the editing isn't really the strongest aspect of the film, but just because you're a Best Picture nominee and you're widely loved by the Academy voters, they will throw you a bone in film editing. So that shows the strength of the holdovers, for sure. Definitely makes it like top 3, top 4 at least in Best Picture. And I predicted Maestro, and Maestro has been getting in. It got in at Critics' Choice. It got in at Ace Eddie, which is the Editors Guild, and they have category for drama and comedy. It did get into drama category. Missed at BAFTA, so maybe that put a dent in everything. And the editing in Maestro is very strong, in my opinion. So I was like, all right, let's just put it in. But the holdovers gets in, sure. Oppenheimer, Killers of the Flower Moon, Poor Things, Anatomy of a Fall. Very, very good editing in that film. I mean, Anatomy of a Fall, multilingual courtroom drama that's 2.5 hours long. I watched the movie. The movie did not feel 2.5 hours long, and it's mostly just talking. And yet it was so captivating. That is a sign of not only a good screenplay, but very, very sharp and strong editing. Very interesting editing and cinematography choices in Anatomy of a Fall. So I love that nomination. I'm really glad it got in here. And it did get in at Ace Eddie, and it got in at BAFTA. So that's that. Other films that have been getting in everywhere are Oppenheimer, Killers of the Flower Moon, and Poor Things, for sure. Very strong editing in all the three of those films. But perhaps the strongest of them all is Oppenheimer. Then again, movies that are very long and don't feel long, but they're very captivating even though they're long. A lot of that has to do with the editing work. And the editing work in Oppenheimer is masterful, because Oppenheimer is the type of film where it jumps through multiple timelines, the whole Christopher Nolan thing, where it starts in the beginning and then it jumps to the end and then it goes back to the beginning and then into the middle and then to the left of the middle and the right to the middle and then back to the beginning and then to the end again and then to the beginning. And it sounds chaotic and confusing, but it's not. It is the narrative thread is so easy to ride alongside of. It is a ride. It is a roller coaster, this movie. And again, it's mostly talking. Oppenheimer is not an action movie. The only action that you see is the Trinity test sequence, and that's just a bomb. It's just talking. And it's so captivating. And the editing work is that strong. So, of course, it's going to be a front runner this year. So it got Critics' Choice, and I think it's going to win every award. Maybe they'll throw a bone to Anatomy of a Fall, maybe at BAFTA or something. But I can see Jennifer Lame taking this award home for Oppenheimer. That, and it's a Best Picture frontrunner. So what else can you say? And it's not. Maybe if it's not going to win Adapted Screenplay, then maybe they'll throw a bone for it for editing. Maybe have it win it under a tech or two. Have RDJ win Supporting Actor. Cillian Murphy maybe win Actor. Nolan winning Director, and then winning Picture. That'll give it a nice package and a Best Picture winning package. So I do have it winning. But yeah, 4 out of 5. I'll live with it. Let's move on. It is interesting. Yeah, for sure. I guess you're talking about Anatomy of a Fall when I was talking about that. Yeah. Very interesting movie. Very cool. It's basically about this woman who has a tumultuous relationship with her husband. Her husband is blaring loud music while he's working upstairs. They have a son who is legally blind, and they have a dog. And then the son goes out for a walk, and then he comes back, and the husband has fallen. This is not a spoiler. It's right in the beginning of the movie. The husband falls from the top floor down to the ground, and he dies. And the wife is convicted of, not really convicted, but she's accused of murder. She's the prime suspect. So she kind of has to prove her innocence. And she's German, but her second language is French. But she's in France, and when you go to court in France, you need to speak French. So she kind of has to defend herself while speaking not a native language. And then she starts speaking German anyway, because they kind of just let her. So the whole movie is just her being in court and then trying to prove that she didn't kill him and that it was a suicide. But then her son, who is blind, kind of complicates things too. It's really great. It's a great movie. It's in my top 10. It's number 10. It's in my top 10. It's number 10. But it is very good. It's long, but it is very good. I do highly recommend it. Yeah, if you're into true crime, you'll probably like it. So, and there's a dog in the movie. He's a border collie, and he literally acts like literally one of the best dog performances I have ever seen in a movie. Incredible. If you could give acting awards, in fact, I think the dog won an award at the Cannes Film Festival when it premiered. They gave him an award because he was so good. So, I mean, they have that award for every dog. It's called the Palm Dog or something like that at the Cannes Film Festival. They give it to the best dog of the year in the film, and of course he won. So, yeah, he's such a good boy. His name is Snoop. So, anyway, that's Anatomy of a Fall. Go check it out. God bless Snoop. Moving on. So, makeup and hairstyling. Who knew I'd go 5 out of 5 in makeup hairstyling? What the hell? What the hell was that? I didn't think I'd get 5 out of 5 in makeup and hairstyling, but I did, man. Yeah, man. Maestro, no-brainer. Poor Things, no-brainer. Oppenheimer's been doing surprisingly well in the makeup and hairstyling field. Look, it's Critics' Choice. This is the Makeup Guild. Got a Makeup Guild nomination. Got BAFTA nomination. It's been doing great. There's some very strong aging makeup in the film. That's mostly why. The Oscars love their... Oh, yeah, and before we get to that, Society of the Snow. I just felt that they would go for that as well. Very reminiscent of All Quiet on the Western Front last year. A lot of like frostbite, dusty, grimy makeup work in that film. I just felt like that was going to happen, and a lot of other people were predicting it too, so I was like, maybe I'll, but I could also see Killers of the Flower Moon maybe getting it, but I was like, I'll go out on a limb and I'll predict Society of the Snow. And it happened. So, very glad to see that. But also, the Oscars love their prosthetic makeup. We're talking like getting caked in makeup with like basically masks. You know what prosthetics are. I don't need to get into what prosthetics are, but they love prosthetics. Maestro, Prosthetic City. Poor Things. Look at Willem Dafoe in Poor Things. Say no more. Prosthetic City, man. Prosthetic City. Come on, Willem Dafoe. Look at that. I mean, are we gonna have to bring up Maestro again? Prosthetic City, Bradley Cooper looks like Leonard Bernstein in the 70s. How'd they do it? How'd they do it? How'd they do it? How did they do it? How did they do it? How did they do it? Most likely gonna be winning makeup. Golda, which wasn't really nominated for anything else other than the Makeup Guild. Golda. They said, "Hey, Helen Mirren, how much makeup you want on your face?" "Oh, this much makeup." That's Helen Mirren. Prosthetic City. Welcome to Prosthetic City. That is Helen Mirren. What are we doing here? Holy crap. And then we'll do one more. I know The Last Voyage of the Demeter was shortlisted and didn't get a nomination, but let's just look it up anyway. This is going to be a good one. You ready for this? You ready for this? You ready for this? Prosthetic City! Monster makeup! Hey, Prosthetic City! Oh, wow! That's a lot of makeup! I hear that movie's bad. So yeah, that didn't get nominated, but that was shortlisted because the Oscars love their prosthetics. So, with that being said, Barbie was snubbed, by the way. Crazy. Because they didn't have prosthetics. Anyway. That's the 5. I got 5 out of 5 there. Maestro is most likely going to be winning. But, never say never. Because, Barbie was nominated... Oh, yeah, Barbie was not nominated for BAFTA for makeup and hair. Interesting. But, maybe the tides will turn and we could see something else happen with these precursors. But for my money, I think Maestro still has this in the bag. So I think I'll just leave it at that. In a nutshell, Prosthetic City. We are now leaving Prosthetic City, and we are now going into Barbie Land. Production design. I was 4 out of 5 in production design. I predicted Napoleon to get nominated. It did get that ADG period nomination, and that typically is a strong precursor as far as guilds are concerned. The ADG is the what does it stand for? Artistic Design Guild or something like that. It's the Production Design Guild. So I was kind of going out on a limb. Oh wait, no, I didn't. What am I talking about? I didn't predict. Oh yeah, I predicted the Zone of Interest. Right. I wasn't thinking Napoleon was going to perform, because Napoleon's been kind of like not performing very well overall. But yeah, I guess it did get the ADG. Zone of Interest missed ADG. It did get a BAFTA nomination, but the guilds tend to favor what the Oscars' tastes are more so than BAFTA. So in hindsight, yes, that makes sense that they would choose that. But I really would have loved to see the Zone of Interest pull through with a production design nomination, because what they did with the house and the garden that they built next to Auschwitz, the way they filmed it, it was like they placed like static cameras in certain spots of the house and the garden, and they mic'd everything in a way where there was no crew. There was no like guys with boom stands. There was no like, cinematographers with cameras in it, anything. No crew at all. It was just the actors in the house and in the garden doing their thing, acting out everything with no crew like around them. And that is a production design achievement for sure. So that is why I feel like the Oscars would kind of recognize that. At least BAFTA did. But it just didn't happen, unfortunately. So I would have loved to see it, but it didn't happen. They chose Napoleon instead, which is like, whatever. And I'm sure the production design in Napoleon, a very much larger budget, bigger Ridley Scott directed film, sure, that makes sense. And, war stuff, last year, All Quiet on the Western Front won production design over Babylon, which was the front runner in the entire season. We don't need to get into that anymore. All Quiet still won the Oscar last year because it was very impressive production design, and that was a World War I film. So I think the Academy likes their war production design, war-based, battlefield-based production design work. So maybe that's why it got in, but I don't know. But I think, have you seen Barbie? I mean, even if you haven't seen Barbie, have you seen the trailers for Barbie? Have you seen Barbie World? There was literally a global shortage of pink paint, ladies and gentlemen, because of Barbie. That's a fact. I mean, that's what I've heard. I'm pretty sure it's a fact. They went gangbusters on the production design work and the set decoration for Barbie. It's pretty nuts. Pretty nuts. It won Critics' Choice. It was nominated for ADG Fantasy. It got nominated for BAFTA, even though Barbie slightly underperformed at BAFTA. It is like, it's very strong, and it's most likely going to win. Poor Things also has very, very strong production design. And if Barbie wasn't here, if Barbie wasn't nominated here, I'm pretty sure Poor Things would be taking home this award. They built basically mini cities. They basically built Libsyn, these very small, weird, eclectic steampunk versions of European cities like Libsyn and Paris, and they have this whole boat sequence in the film that's very impressive. It's really, really strong. Really, really strong. So I would say that would be somewhat of a close second, but not really. But yeah, I think Barbie has this one in the bag. Oppenheimer, they built the whole Los Alamos town where they did the Trinity test sequence, and that's pretty impressive. Killers of the Flower Moon, they built the whole Osage town. So that's impressive as well. But I don't think they have any shots of winning, but I'm pretty sure Barbie has this one in the bag. Barbie's got this one in the bag. So, okay. Moving on. I'm going to take a swig of my Miller High Life really quick. Man, I usually don't talk this much for this long, so I hope I'm not losing my voice. I might be. We'll see. It is what it is. We're almost done. All right, next up. Y'all, what the hell happened here? What the hell happened? What the hell kind of do you call this original score? What the hell kind of category you call this? What's going on here, man? You had so many options and then you ended up... What are we doing here, man? Let's look at the race. Before we even talk about what the snubs were, look at this race, man. Pemberton for Spider-Verse gets in everywhere, bro. And it's a quality score. Spider-Verse's score is very, very good. And then what else, man? And then other than that, it's been kind of like scattered, honestly. Like all of these very quality scores have been kind of scattered all over the place in these major precursors. Boy and the Heron and Zone of Interest getting those Golden Globe nominations. I think those were pretty strong. Wonderful scores. Boy and the Heron, great score. Zone of Interest has a crazy weird score. That's only in the very beginning of the film and at the very end of the film. And there's some, like, kind of very minimal score in the middle of the film. It's more like sound design than anything. But what music is there is, like, fantastic and very strange. Very, very weird. So I would have loved to see the Academy like go for like a weird score like that, but I don't think that is their tastes per se. I know Mika Levy was nominated for a score that they did for Jackie, which was more of a conventional score. Still kind of weird, but still like in kind of in a conventional vein. Much more conventional than the Zone of Interest score. So honestly, it would have been a great nomination, but it was a long shot, to be honest. And then Boy and the Heron would have been great. Society of the Snow, Michael Giacchino, or Giacchino. Is it Giacchino or Giacchino? I don't know. I think it's Giacchino. I'm gonna say Giacchino, like guillotine, Giacchino. Michael Giacchino here. My boy. I don't know how many times he's been nominated. I know he won for Up, and that was years ago. But he does some very great work. He was snubbed. He didn't even make the shortlist last year for his music for the Batman, which a lot of people were up in arms about. But he did make the shortlist for Society of the Snow, and his music in Society of the Snow is pretty good. Nothing incredible, but it's very good. 2009, yeah, Up. It's been a long time. I think that was. Let's look it up. We can research. We got Google Chrome at our advantage, guys. Michael Giacchino. Hey, let's do this. Pronunciation. Here we go.
Michael Giacchino.
Giacchino. It's not guillotine. It's Giacchino. All right, cool. All right, not guillotine, Giacchino, you know? All right. Oh, we didn't even look up his track record with the Academy. That was the initial objective. So we go down to awards and nominations. Wow. Okay, so he's only been nominated for Ratatouille and Up, and he won for Up, and then that was his last nomination. He got in at BAFTA with Jojo Rabbit. He got into Critics' Choice with Batman and Society of the Snow. And he's been nominated for a bunch of Grammys and Emmys as well. So yeah, he's like kind of had a weird track record with the Academy. So he didn't make it in. He did get a Critics' Choice nomination. Barbie randomly got into Critics' Choice. Saltburn got into BAFTA. And look, man, I circled back on the Saltburn score. It's pretty good, man. It's actually pretty good from what I remembered. But also, like, it was more quality than I remembered even. So I was like, okay, well, it got that BAFTA nomination. Maybe that could happen. But I ended up predicting not only Pemberton for Spider-Verse, but I also predicted Thomas Newman for Elemental. And I know Elemental has been kind of hit or miss this year, number one. But number two, my man did not get any precursor nominations for Elemental. And I've heard his score for Elemental, love or hate Elemental, I heard the music is really great. One of the best aspects of that film. And on top of that, if we look up Thomas Newman, I know I've done this in a previous video. If we look up our boy Newman, let's go down to awards nominations. Holy crap, can you count how many Oscars he's been nominated for? Ho! Jeez Louise, baby. He hasn't won any. He hasn't won an Oscar yet, but look at that track record, man. Look at that. Oh, God. Shawshank Redemption, Little Women, Unstrung Heroes, American Beauty, Road to Perdition, Finding Nemo, Lemony Snick's A Series of Unfortunate Events, Good German, Wall-E, Skyfall, Mr. Banks, Bridge of Spies, Passengers. So random. You know? 1917, of course. I mean, you look at that track record and I'm like, dude, maybe he can pull off a nomination for Elemental. I mean, never say never. So I was like, you know what? Let's throw him in at number 5. Whatever. Let's see it happen. Didn't happen. And I'll tell you what happened. Williams happened. John Williams happened. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny 2. Inside joke. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, I've heard, is not good. It's not a great movie. And on top of that, I've heard that the score is very by the numbers, nothing special, very background, very generic stuff. But it's John Williams, though. The Academy's like, but it's John Williams. Throw him a bone. Let's sit. Oh, Rise of Skywalker. Oh, here you go, John Williams. Oh, Fablemans. It's only got 15 minutes of music. It's fine. Here's an Oscar nomination, John Williams. Here's your 54th Oscar nomination, John Williams. Dude, I'm not lying. This is his 54th Oscar nomination, folks. Thomas Newman, eat your heart out. Eat your heart out, Thomas Newman. That's 54. I'm not going to count them all, but it's 54. And he's won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those 54 nominations. I mean, the Academy just... If there's one person that they will always nominate, it's John Williams. He got nominated for every Star Wars sequel, bro. He got nominated for The Book Thief. He got nominated for Tintin. He got nominated for The Patriot. He got nominated for Amistad. Dude, my man got nominated for Home Alone, bro. I'm about it. He got nominated for The Accidental Tourists. Ever heard of it? He got nominated for The River. Ever been there? Ever heard of it? You kidding? So that's why my reaction was the way that it was on Oscar nominations this morning when they said Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. I went all the way back here and I said, because I knew it was possible. I knew that they were going to do it. They nominated him over the Zone of Interest, over Saltburn, over Elemental. I mean, you know. Ugh. So, whatever. Congratulations, John Williams, on your 54th Oscar nomination. He's a legend. Don't get me wrong. John Williams is the man. But it's just throw something else a bone here. And also, not equally as shocking, but also a little shocking, was the American Fiction nomination. Like, really? Like, huh? I mean, sure, the score is good. I'm not saying it's a bad score. It's just kind of random. And it's mostly like background. It's jazz. It's actually a jazz soundtrack. And you know me and jazz. You know, we go back. It's good. You know, it's nothing to write home about, but it's good. It's not bad. But to see it pop up as the first thing for best score, it's like, and you know, to have Williams and Cartman for American Fiction in over Spider-Verse, which got every major precursor, they just don't. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make much sense to me. Whoops. This category doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. You know, they kind of let me down in this regard. And what should be here is Past Lives. And that didn't even make the short list. And that is one of my, probably in my top 5 favorite scores of the year. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. This is the 5 that we're looking at. Who's winning? You tell me who's winning, bro. You tell me who's winning. Ludwig, man. He's got this in the bag. He's got this in the bag, man. He won critic. Have you heard dude, if you haven't heard the Oppenheimer score, it's a masterwork. It's an absolute masterwork. So he's got to be winning. And the Killers of the Flower Moon score is also very quality. The late great Robbie Robertson passed away before the film was finished. So that is a posthumous nomination for Mr. Robertson there. But also here is the Poor Things score, which thank God that got in. I said this on a recent Instagram story, but we can all agree that Oppenheimer's score is a work of art. It's a masterpiece. Should be winning the Oscar. Deserves to win the Oscar. But let's not discredit the Poor Things score. I probably like the Poor Things score more than most people. In fact, I think it is the most wholly unique and original, as far as originality and unique quality, I think Poor Things kind of takes the cake as far as originality and how unique it is. For me, personally. I know that Oppenheimer's probably going to sweep this whole season, but if Poor Things won BAFTA and then the Oscars would still give the Oscar to Oppenheimer, I would be so into that. Just throw a bone to the Poor Things score. That would be so amazing. I would be running around my apartment if Poor Things won the BAFTA. But anyway, that's just a dream of mine. A man can dream. Ludwig, you're the man. You deserve all the awards this season. So, or maybe BAFTA can like randomly give it to Robbie Robertson as like a send off, you know. But I don't know. I think Oppie's got this in the bag. All right. So anyway, we have a few categories left. I'm not sure if we're going to be reviewing the shorts categories or not. But before we move on, I think I'm going to take a quick break. I'm probably just going to go get a drink. And probably just give my voice a rest for a few minutes, and then we'll come back and we'll do these final handful of categories. So I will be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Stand by. All right. I'm back. I got my second Miller High Life to wash down the dryness. So, let us move on. We got a few more categories to go. Let's move on to original song. I was 4 out of 5 in original song. As far as what I predicted, I predicted Road to Freedom to get in from Rustin, Mr. Kravitz. And that has been performing pretty well, I think, right? Yeah, dude. We only got 2 precursors for original song, so, it's kind of, it's tight. as far as what the race is. So, Dance the Night got in both places, but those are 3 Barbie songs, and only 2 songs from one film can get into the Oscars. So if there's going to be any 2 of the Barbie songs, it's going to be these 2. But other than that, really the only songs that have made the shortlist that has been performing at all, much less well, was Road to Freedom from Rustin. So that's why I predicted it. But the surprise nomination for Wajaje, Song for My People from Killers of the Flower Moon, is awesome. It's basically an Osage people's, like the Osage tribe. They kind of have just like this traditional Native American song that they did for the film. It's featured at the end of the film. It's a great nomination. I love it. I think it was very awesome to see that sneak in. And I think that just goes to show, they wanted to give Killers of the Flower Moon an extra nomination to maybe try to make up for maybe the Leo snub or the adapted screenplay snub or something like that. So that made it in over Road to Freedom, which surprised me. So that was good. But other than that, I got the John Batiste song in there from American Symphony. John Batiste is a former Oscar winner for the Soul soundtrack. Not sure if he's been nominated for original song. He probably could have been. And of course, he's John Batiste. He's everywhere. He has a documentary in running. Did American Symphony get into documentary? Did not. And of course, he's a multi-Grammy award-winning artist. So I think they kind of have a thing for him. So I was kind of predicting that. So yeah, that made it into the 5. Diane Warren, we don't have to talk about it too much, but Diane Warren, I don't know what it is, man. When this woman writes a song for any movie, no matter if it made $3 at the box office or not, Diane Warren will write a song, it's going to get nominated at the Oscars. Like, I don't know why. I don't know what it is. She campaigns the hell out of all of her songs. She like sends sheet music out to Oscar voters and things of that nature. I don't know what she does. Maybe she has a gun to the heads of voters. Maybe she's got like some weird power in the industry that she like. No one mess with Diane Warren. If you don't give her an Oscar night, she'll. Remember the one time she was snubbed and she ripped someone's head off? I don't know. That's just speculation. I'm not putting words in anybody's mouth or anything, but why? Why is this a thing? I'm sure she's a very talented songwriter. But, like, we're still doing this. We're still doing this? Whatever. She's here. She got nominated again. So, hi, Diane Warren. Hi. Flamin' Hot? Never seen it. Who's seen it? Don't know. But anyway, The Fire Inside by Disturbed is nominated for an Oscar. Other than that, we got the 2 frontrunners from Barbie. We got What Was I Made For, and we got I'm Just Ken. It is the battle of the Barbie songs. And look, guys, What Was I Made For won Golden Globe. I'm Just Ken won Critics' Choice. And guess what? That's all we got. Going into Oscars night, that is all we got. So pick your side. Pick Eilish? Pick the Eilish side, or are you going to pick the Gosling side? I'm going to pick the Eilish side. And I got my reasons. I think What Was I Made For is going to win over I'm Just Ken. And maybe it could be I'm Just Ken, and I'll eat my words. But, number 1, Billie Eilish. She's Billie Eilish. Number 2, Billie Eilish and Phineas have an Oscar already. They won an Oscar a couple years ago for No Time to Die. Number 3, the German 3. What Was I Made For is a sensation. Sure, I'm Just Ken is also a different type of sensation. It's a very fun song. I'm not sure how viral it went or whatever, but sure, that song has very good presence. But What Was I Made For? It's been nominated for a bunch of Grammys. It's Billie Eilish. And the core message of the song is basically the film in a nutshell. The core message of the film, conversely, is in the song. The song is featured near the end of the film in the montage. Without giving too much away, there's a montage near the end of the film where the song is featured. It's the emotional climax of the film. It's what drives home the point of Barbie home. It is at the core of the film. The song has been playing everywhere. You hear it everywhere you go. You hear it in the dentist's office. You hear it in grocery stores. You hear it on the radio. You hear it everywhere. I think it's easy for me to say that this will be taking home the Oscar. Sure, maybe I'm Just Ken will be the more fun pick to win the Oscar. Look, last year, Not To won. That is the definition of a fun song from a movie. So maybe I'm Just Ken falls into that same regard. Maybe that can pull off a surprise win. But for my money, I think What Was I Made For? Will probably take home this bad boy. So that is my logic there. I'm going to be going for that going into Oscars night. I'll be happy for Ryan Gosling if that wins, but those are my predictions. As far as other snubs, I would have loved to see Quiet Eyes get in. What a great song that is. Dance the Night is a very underrated song from Barbie. The Color Purple songs didn't really have a chance, honestly. Color Purple's just been doing kind of poorly this award season. Am I Dreaming from Spider-Verse? Pretty solid song. You know, they typically don't go for more hip-hop or R&B based songs, so that was kind of an outside shot. And then the Flora and Son song, maybe there was an outside shot there, but I don't know. But Wajaje was a nice surprise over Road to Freedom. Sorry, Lenny Kravitz. But yeah, I was 4 out of 5 in original song. I'll take it. Rip Peaches. Rip Wish. I don't need to see Wish. Moving on. Not nominated for any Oscars. All right, best sound. I was 3 out of 5 in sound. You know, I didn't do too hot in sound. I predicted Ferrari just because it got not only BAFTA, it got that CAS nomination. And the Academy likes vroom vroom stuff. So I was thinking that could maybe Ferrari, this will be the place where it will get that low nomination for it. So, but it didn't happen. Very surprisingly, you know, I was kind of shocked that it didn't get in. But they did choose the creator, which kind of caught me off guard. That was at the bottom of my list. And I was thinking creator could just get a visual effects nod and that's it. But no, it pulled off a sound nod as well. And I haven't seen the creator. I hear it's fine. I haven't heard amazing things about it, but I hear it is visually captivating. And I guess the sound work is solid as well. And then Mission Impossible pulled off a surprise nomination. There have been no Mission Impossible movies, from what I know, from what I recall, that have gotten any Oscar nominations. This is the very first one. It not only got into this, but it also got into visual effects, which was pretty nuts. So that pulled off a surprise nomination over The Killer. And I could have seen The Killer maybe sneaking in. I had that at number 6, but that didn't happen either. Oppenheimer, of course, got in. Amazing sound work in that film. It might be even winning. We'll see. Maestro, wonderful sound work. That's been getting in at the precursors, and by precursors I mean just BAFTA and CAS, which is the sound guild, one of the sound guilds. But The Zone of Interest, I mean, it got a BAFTA nomination, somehow missed CAS, and then it got nominated for the Oscar, which the movie is amazing, by the way. The movie will not... I mean, the sound design is the movie, for the most part. It is the movie. Like, you're basically a fly on the wall to this German Nazi family who lives literally on the other side of the wall of Auschwitz. And without giving too much away, you hear some things. And it is it's pretty incredible what they pull off. It is very affecting, almost too affecting. It's what you don't see, and it's what is implied that is the most effective. And damn, is it effective. Damn, is it effective. So, that nomination is amazing. In fact, as strong as the sound work is in Oppenheimer, I wouldn't mind if the Oscar went to The Zone of Interest, honestly, because as great as that movie is, like I said, the sound design and the sound work makes the film. Like the entirety of the film, you know, there are sequences in Oppenheimer that are masterclasses in sound design. Don't get me wrong. Those are certain sequences. The Zone of Interest, the whole film rides on the sound design. And what an achievement in sound design it is. You know, that would be an amazing win for sure over Oppenheimer, which is already a technical marvel. But it really is between those two. I think it's between those two. I wouldn't be surprised if Oppenheimer took this home, but I would love to see it go to Zone of Interest, personally. But yeah, this category does make sense. I'm just kind of baffled that Ferrari didn't get in. And then Killers of the Flower Moon also has some pretty great sound work. Throughout the film, and also especially at the end credits is kind of... It's like you're watching the credits roll, and it's essentially just nature sounds. And the sound design, especially when you're in a theater, it is so... it puts you... It's a vibe, for sure. It definitely puts you wherever it is, you know, out in nature, you know, in the field. You know, you hear animals, you hear birds chirping, you hear the rain, and you kind of hear the rain go away. Then you start hearing bugs and like a coyote in the background. It's like really, what's the word? Not engaging, but immersive. It is incredibly immersive experience. So that would have been cool, but it's only one part of the film. So sure, I guess it would make sense that it would miss here, but whatever. But this is a great category for sure. Good picks here. So let's move on to visual effects. Going into Oscars nominations morning, this was kind of up in the air, especially with Oppenheimer not being here. We all knew the creator was going to get in. Most of us knew that Guardians 3 was going to get in. They've been getting in everywhere, at Critics' Choice, at VES, which is the visual effects branch, the guild, Visual Effects Guild, rather, and BAFTA. Poor Things got Critics' Choice and BAFTA, but Poor Things was kind of an oddball because most of it was practical, and the Academy doesn't typically go for practical effects more than they go for CGI. That's mostly why Oppenheimer didn't make it into the shortlist. And there was some CGI in Poor Things with the Frankenstein animals at Willem Dafoe's laboratory in London. I mean, yes, but also I think there's some discrepancy with like how many people worked on the visual effects, how big the team was, how much visual effects was actually implemented in the film overall. That maybe disqualified it. Yes, it did make the short list, but it just wasn't nominated for whatever reason. So maybe that will make sense to me in due time, but sure. I did predict Indiana Jones, The Dial of Destiny, because that got into the VES. And they have this thing annually called a bake-off, which they campaign visual effects in films by showing Academy members not like a montage, but we'll call it a montage, like a collection of standout visual effects from their films. And I heard through the grapevine that the Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny bake-off went very well. But then it didn't even get a nomination. So who's to say if those bake-offs even matter anymore? Whatever. So that didn't get in. But Napoleon got in, which was surprising. Maybe that's another wartime technical achievement that the Oscars have a bias for. Not sure. But Godzilla Minus One pulled off a nomination, and that was a very cool surprise nomination to see. A lot of people have been talking about Godzilla Minus One and how great it is and how great the visual effects are despite its very, very small budget. That is a feat unto itself, technically and financially, obviously. So, but it wasn't getting nominated anywhere. It didn't get a Critics' Choice or VES or BAFTA nomination. It wasn't really showing up, and then the Oscars recognized it. And it's the first Oscar nomination for any Godzilla movie in history. So that is history making. I did have it kind of on the cusp, but it got in, and I'm very glad to see it. I'm very glad to see it here. I do need to see it. I do need to watch that one. So those are the 5. This could go anywhere. I mean, we haven't really had... Oppenheimer didn't clear things up because that won Critics' Choice, so thanks. We don't have until VES and BAFTA to see what will pull off the wins going into Oscar night. So we'll just have to see what happens there. But for now, I will say the most impressive visual effects work out of these categories is maybe between The Creator and Godzilla Minus One. The only edge that The Creator has is that it has precursor nominations and Godzilla does not. But I'm not sure if that matters in the grand scheme of things. Whatever. But for right now, I will say that it's between those two. Or maybe Guardians 3, who knows? But at this point, I don't know, folks. I don't know. I'm going to have to either crunch numbers or wait until what these precursors do until I have an answer for who's going to win. So that is that. Let's move on to documentary feature. I don't even know what to say about documentary feature, man. I mean, I try, but really collectively we try to predict this category as much as we can, because look at all of these precursors for documentary. We got all shortlist cuts down here, and these shortlist cuts for the most part got like almost the same number of nominations as the documentaries that made the shortlist. You know what I'm saying? So, and like a lot of like To Kill a Tiger got nominated. It was it didn't even get any precursors, man. And then Bobby Wine, man, got a DGA nomination, and that was it. And then The Eternal Memory seemed kind of dead for most of the season, and that got in. Then Four Daughters got in, which, I think I predicted that. Did I predict that? I did predict that. And then 20 Days of Mariupol is really the only clear front-runner in the category. Of course, that got in, and that got into the shortlist for International Feature as well. Still Michael J. Fox movie. The Academy seems to have some kind of bias towards celebrity-focused retrospective documentaries, so those typically never get in, so that... I wasn't predicting that myself. But look, man, Beyond Utopia, another front runner, missed. American Symphony performed very well, missed. Going to Mars performed very well. I predicted that, missed. 32 Sounds won CEH and then missed. So what are we doing? They do these 5, and dude, it's so hard. It's so hard. I don't know the nuances of the the documentary feature race, really. I don't really have a lot of chops in predicting the director race. It's just weird, man. It's really, this category is just so hard to predict. It's so weird. It's so up in the air. So random. It's almost like, why do you even try? Because they will snub frontrunners too. Like Beyond Utopia is damn near frontrunner. Like that and 20 Days of Mariupol were the two frontrunners. That was the frontrunner that they snubbed this year. So it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. So other than that, I really don't know what else to say regarding that race. I think as a winner, I think 20 Days in Mariupol makes sense. It is about the Ukraine war, the Russia-Ukraine war, so that is very topical and timely. I know Navalny won last year, and that kind of had to do with the whole Russian, I guess, I don't know how to say it, the whole situation over there. Well, let's just leave it at that. Or maybe Four Daughters could pull off a surprise win. I've heard great things about Four Daughters as well. I don't know. This branch has its very specific tastes, so I really don't know how to predict this one unless I see some more stars aligning with these precursors. So it'll probably become clearer as the season goes on. So we'll leave that there. And as for the documentary shorts and the live action shorts and the animated shorts, I really don't know what else to say. I'm not really a shorts guy. I don't keep up on the races. I probably will be watching the shorts right before Oscar night, and then just making my predictions based on that. And the only precursors that we have are the animated shorts, like the Annies and the BAFTAs. Sometimes that doesn't even matter, and the Oscars will just pick whatever they want. And that's it. That's pretty much it. So we got ABC's a book banning. Was 3 out of 5 in documentary short. I did better in documentary short than I did in documentary feature. What? But literally all I did for the short categories, I went to Gold Derby. And I just chose the top 10, 15, and I just put the top 5 in there based on Gold Derby. So really, this is Gold Derby's 3 out of 5. So, and Gold Derby's 2 out of 5 and 2 out of 5.
Hey, Yoko, looks like we got nominated for animated short.
So yeah, as far as, we're just going to have to see what the hell happens. I really don't know what to say about the shorts. It is what it is. Going to have to just keep an eye on it. I really have nothing to say. I don't really have any insight to give on these because I just lack knowledge in these races. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to leave it at that. That is my recap of the Oscar nominations and my predictions. If we go to the overview tab, we will see all of my predictions here. So here, I was 10 out of 10 in picture. Actor, supporting actors, original screenplay, makeup, here I was 5 out of 5. And in a lot of categories, I was 4 out of 5. And then in a handful, I was 3 out of 5. And then in a few, I was 2 out of 5. So I did pretty well. I would say I did pretty well. 74%. That's not too bad. 89 out of 120. Not too bad. I think last year I was like 85 or 86 out of 120, so I did a little bit better this year. So I'll live with that. I think I did pretty good. But overall, I think the Oscar nominations this year were mostly kind of normal. Not a whole lot of huge shocks. Greta Gerwig not getting in was kind of nuts. Not completely nuts, but nuts enough. Just because she had such a great year and she achieved what most directors would never dream of, or would always dream of, rather. Yeah, it's just weird to see her not here. But Annette Bening getting in over Robbie, that was kind of weird. Killer's missing adapted screenplay was kind of crazy. Robot Dreams getting into animated was kind of nuts. International feature was a little weird. Original score was definitely pretty weird. The Killer song getting into original song. There's just some tidbits of surprises here and there along the way. So, but mostly, pretty serviceable nominations. I think they did a fairly good job. And of course, the PGA 10. That was a thing. So yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it at that, folks. Those are the Oscar nominations. That's the Oscar nominations recap for 2024. And we have a little bit of a break, I think, coming up. I think I'm gonna use this next month or so until the BAFTAs and SAGs happen to catch up on some movies I haven't watched yet. There's a handful of them I haven't seen yet. A lot of them are international movies, and then some little ones here and there. I'm gonna have to watch Naiad. Gonna have to watch El Conde. Maybe I'll have to watch Color Purple, just to see, comparatively how Danielle Brooks shapes up. Even though Divine Joy Randolph is most likely winning. Some ones here and there. I'll have to see Robot Dreams. Maybe I'll see Elemental. We'll see. Napoleon, maybe. Anyway, I think we'll leave it at that, folks. If we look, let us pull up the awards calendar to see what is up next. And this is brought to you by nextbestpicture.com. Some nice folks over there. They have a podcast that I always listen to. The ACE nominations have already happened. So BSC winners are coming out in early February. DGA winners are coming in early February. ADG. Okay, some guilds are going to be happening, announcing their winners early next month. So that'll clear maybe some things up. And then in late February, we are going to have the SAG Awards in late February. And then the BAFTA Awards are before SAG again this year. So it's going to be BAFTA and then SAG, same as last year. So SAG is going to be the big indicator for actor winners going into, and maybe even Best Picture, going into the Oscars tonight. So the BAFTAs are on February 18th. I'm not sure if I'm going to be live streaming my reactions to those, just because I think they're going to be in the afternoon for me, so I'm not sure what my availability is going to be. In any case, I'm definitely going to be doing a reaction video to the winners, whether I'm going to be live streaming that or not. But I am definitely going to be planning on live streaming the SAG Awards, much like I did with Golden Globes and Critics' Choice. So stay tuned for that. That is February 24th. And then, of course, March 10th is the big night, folks. My Super Bowl, 96th Academy Awards. Definitely going to be doing a live stream for that. Look forward to that. That's going to be the big night. But until then, going to be catching up on some movies and seeing what some of these guilds do. And, yeah, we're just going to leave it at that. I have my top 10 short video out. Give it a like. Give it a share. Give me a subscribe if you haven't already, folks. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thanks to everybody who chimed in chat for this stream. Y'all have a good Friday night. And a good weekend. And a good rest of your January. We're already over January. It's insane. That's going to be that, folks. Let me switch to this. Here we go. All right. That's going to be it for me, folks. Thanks so much again for watching. Yeah. 'Tis the season, y'all. Thank you guys again. Oscar Guy is out. See you, folks. Goodbye.